Okay. Welcome back to Kamen Rider Review, episode number 36. Now you're probably thinking, Nick, did you finish up Slime Divers already? Not yet. I actually have one episode left. I'm actually watching it right after I do this review. Watch the episode and I review episodes 8 and 9, and I'll basically add it to my, it's going to be added to my interview schedule, but only temporarily for about 3 episodes, and then it'll be done. Yep. Now, in the case of these episodes, we have the debut of a brand new villain, King Dark, who I believe is supposed to be the leader of the government of darkness. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. Now, if you wonder what King Dark looks like, that's him. That's King Dark. He is a giant robot. He is by far, by size, the biggest villain in Kamen Rider history by height. He is huge. And pretty much he's the final villain, like right after after the destruction of Apollo Guest. Mm-hmm. Yep. Now in these episodes we see, like in the very first episode in 22, we see a debut of several monsters in one episode, which is the most ever seen. Like in just one episode, 4 monsters show up, and it's just Genghis Khan Condor, Togomon. He's a someone inspired by a Japanese hero. There is also, get this, Horn Beetle Lupin, based on Lupin the Third, based on the original Lupin, and the most famous, the infamous one of all these, Starfish Hitler. Yes, seriously. Now, simply put, basically, like the first episode is kind of basically just basically the way to have King Dark make his debut is interesting to say the least. It's not like, oh, there he is. It basically starts out with these two people who actually are a couple. Actually, no, they're not a couple. They're actually brother and sister. They're actually out exploring, and then of course their older brother discovers a weird cave, and they go and say like, oh, there's a giant statue. That's King Dark under this cloak, whatever. And by the way, he spends a lot of time just doing this. His hand against his face, and when he gets angry, he does in the episode 26, he just bangs the ground with his hand. Yes, the reason why he's like this, why he's not standing up per se, is because he doesn't have the power to move himself very much. He has the power to talk and move his eyes and his hand, but that's it. That's all he can do. He can't do very much. Why the heck is he like this? At this point, don't know. So then they unleash the 4 monsters, like I just named, in just the same episode, just to do terrorizing in Japan. And that's their job. Now, the first one unleashed in the first episode, which, by the way, they actually have it where in the same episode where they show off these 4 monsters. Now, Genghis Khan Condor is another one of these episodes where, oh, let's make people into a diversion of vampires. That's simply put what this one is. For 23, this actually is a prologue to the start of a recurring story arc that lasts for several episodes. What arc is it? Well, getting their pieces on this device, which of course they refer to a couple different names. Like in one, they call it as the RS device. In another subbing, they refer to it as the Ares device. This device basically will enable King Dark to be powered up and go more powerful and go rampage across Japan. The guy in charge of the project reveals he actually is like, oh, the thing is not ready, and it turns out he actually is ready and get the blueprints because he basically bugged the conversation with him and his coworker. So he was able to escape thanks to a prototype of this device. And what does he do with the pieces? He actually splits them up into 9 pieces, keeps one himself, and then gives basically one to 8 colleagues of his, which in our episode was his friends. And over the course of the next few episodes, we actually have 2 of the pieces being found. Of course, of the 9 pieces by episode 26, we only have 4 pieces discovered. Yeah, 4 pieces. Actually, it's more like 3 pieces, actually. Yeah, 3 pieces are found. There's total 8, and they've only found just 2 so far. Mostly, anyways. So, after delivering all of these, and of course, we actually have the Toad Monster goes out to deal with the camera here, but he does mention me at the very end. Now, starting with episode 24, we start the arc of looking for the 8 main pieces. The one that Kamen Rider has, I believe, will be the middle piece, like the very dead center. So they go and find the next piece, which apparently this is where the next monster comes in. So turns out some kid has it because the friend he sent it to has actually been dead for about a year. So they try to threaten the kid. Eventually, the Kamen Rider does get the piece, anyways. And well, though in episode 25, King Dark gets one of the pieces, but in the case of 26, Kamen gets the piece. And they send to various people, like in the case of 25. This one I thought was kind of odd, to say the least. It's not the episodes, but it's just odd. It's the subbing. The subbing was coming too early. Yeah, I have no idea why the heck the subbing was coming early. They just did. Yeah, so what I surmise based on the subbing is that this professor gets hands on it and basically copies this thing in the back of 2 boys who he took the time to drug them and basically take off their shirts. No, not to do anything inappropriate to them, just copy the thing on their backs. They'll eventually, the episode, the thing is removed, and the whole thing is like, oh, let's say these little boys getting shirtless because they have marks on their backs. Yeah, I thought that was kind of odd, but they do get this one in particular. They actually do not. I believe they don't get the piece. This one, I think that. Well, I think in the case of 24, I think they do get that one, but in the case of 25, they don't. But in 26, Kamen gets one, and of course, this one involves Starfish Hitler. Yeah, and I believe that Starfish Hitler was actually the last monster they just introduced in episode 22. Yeah, he was the last one. It was actually the first new one introduced, because you have 4 debut in the first episode, and then you have 1 get killed off at the end of the episode, and then of course you basically have a good set of monsters for your first 4 episodes, which is good on the part of King Dark to do. But after 26, get this, you know how many monsters are left to be seen in the series? Only 6 monsters. You're thinking, 6? Seriously, 6? Yep. Actually, it's more like 8 monsters. 8. Yeah, and there's only 9 episodes left. Yeah, episode 27 doesn't have monster, which I'll get to more of that in my next review. Yep. Oh, by the way, the third professor, he basically disguised him as a hippie. A hippie, yes. And have these couple pose as him. As what happens to them in the episode, it's not specifically revealed. They actually don't find them. They just presume they're off someplace. They don't find them at the end of the episode. Basically, he does get the... Apparently, the drawing was actually kept in his woman's bracelet. Also, because Starfish Hitler is a Nazi, we have a U-boat pop up in the episode. Yes, a freaking U-boat. Because, of course, it's Adolf Hitler. What the heck do you expect comes Adolf Hitler? Yep, but not much to say, but these 5 episodes are pretty good. And we got a good plot going here. Okay, so that's episode review. Next episode is going to be basically discussing the last couple episodes released for Slime Diaries. And back here briefly for 3 episodes plus the movie. Yes, there's a movie. I'll discuss that. And then I'm going to do the 2 anime, which is going to be The Great Jiao Will Not Be Defeated, and of course also Case Closed. And then eventually back to this one for the remaining 6 episodes of this. Okay? See you. Bye.